morning, everyone. Welcome to Delta Entertainment. I am your host, Liquor Kenobi. And before we get started, we'd like you guys please hit that like button and please subscribe to my channel. Would appreciate that very, very much. All right, let's get into this. Right now, I just found this article last night, and a lot of people have been complaining, arguing about the tariffs. Especially with gaming consoles and everything, and everybody's complaining, "Oh, this is Trump's fault. This is Trump." Man, listen, bro. The reason why Trump is doing the tariffs thing, fixing up doing the tariffs, is because every other country we've helped them out for many of times, especially in them help in need, like if they need resources and all that. But what do they give us in return? Do they help us out with resources if we need them, like with money? Because all our years, especially with the Biden administration, we have been paying the government way too much taxes. And with our tax money, our tax paying money that everybody has earned, we have gave it to them and they use that to help other countries. But we were struggling and we didn't get no help. So that's why Trump is doing this. So here we go with this. China threatens to ban U.S. Hollywood movies in explosive retaliation to Trump tariffs despite years of studio pandering. So they want to get rid of the Hollywood's American Hollywood, right? Okay, but all the years that they have been discriminating racism in the Hollywood posters and all that, now you want to decide that you want to get rid of the Hollywood, the United States movies? You could have done that years ago. But let's see what's going on in this article. Hollywood may finally be paying the price for its years of one-way company compromise with China. In a stunning escalation of U.S.-China tensions, reports out of Beijing suggest that the Chinese Communist Party is preparing to ban American Hollywood movies from its theaters, a movie designed to retaliate against Donald Trump. Tariffs increase on all China imports. The potential ban could cost Hollywood over $500 million annually and reshape the global entertainment landscape. But this isn't just economic warfare, it's cultural. Tariffs, retaliation, and collapse of cooperation. The U.S. China trade dispute is no longer a threat on the horizon, it's happening in real time. On April 2nd, President Trump declared a national economic emergency and announced sweeping new tariffs on foreign imports. The blanket policy includes a 10% baseline tariff on all imported goods, but the real target isn't unmistakable China. Imports from Beijing face an additional 34% country-specific tariff, bringing the total levy to 44% on Chinese goods. The policy takes full effect April 9th. But Trump isn't stopping there. Today is April 9th right now. In a speech on April 7th, the president warned that an additional 50% tariff stacked on top of the existing hikes would be imposed unless China backs down from its retaliatory threats. The tariff could push the total cost of Chinese imports to nearly 100%, effectively severing normal trade between the two economic powers. Chinese state officials have condemned the tariffs as economic blackmail and vowed to respond with countermeasures that match its scale and severity. While some of those countermeasures are expected to focus on agriculture and technology, one of the most controversial tools under consideration is a ban on American films, a cultural sledgehammer designed to inflict pain not just financially but symbolically. In 2024, Hollywood films earned $585 million at the Chinese box office. While down past years, that revenue remains critical to the bottom line for major studios. A ban would not only cut off hundreds of millions in annual earnings, it would signal that China could no longer see Hollywood as a valuable partner. This wouldn't be the first time China restricted access over political disputes, but the current move is far more sweeping. A full-on Hollywood blackout would represent the final unraveling of a fragile partnership, one that Hollywood spent decades cultivating through self-censorship, appeasement, and cultural compromise. Now China is making it clear Access is not is not a right; it's leverage. Hollywood's willing compromises. For more than a decade, Hollywood has reshaped itself to suit Chinese sensibilities. Films like Iron Man 3, Transformers Age of Extinction featured additional scenes for Chinese audiences. Scripts were combed over for politically risky material. Even maps, flags, and throwaway lines were altered to pass the Chinese censorship board. It wasn't about storytelling, it was about ticket sales. Studios learned early on that offending Beijing could mean total blackout, so they didn't risk it. They removed references to Taiwan, Tibet, and Tiananmen. They avoided villains from China. They inserted heroic Chinese characters or government officials in co productions. Some even agreed to censorship in overseas markets just to stay in China's good graces. No one bent harder than Disney. Disney's relationship with China has long walked a tightrope between commercial ambition and moral compromise. So, here's another example. In 2015, Chinese promotional posters for Star Wars The Force Awakens shrunk actor John Boyega. Here he is right here. This is our American poster. And here's John Boyega's. Here's the Chinese poster. And there is John Boyega right there. Shrunk actor John Boyega, a major character in a background figure, sparking global outrage over the apparent attempt to appease Chinese racial sensitivities. See, they did the same with Black Panther. In the American, you see him like this with his face showing, but then in Chinese, you see him doing this, but with his mask on. So that's China being racist right there. So this is Mulan, filmed in Xinjiang, the same region where the Chinese government has been accused of committing horrible atrocities against Uyghur Muslims. Disney not only avoided any reference to the atrocities, but openly thanked Chinese police and propaganda departments in the credits. Among them was the Turpin Municipal Bureau of Public Security, directly involved in the interment system. You see, Mulan, when they did the movie Mulan, there was this activity going on, and basically they bended the knee, you know. The backlash was immediate, but Disney stood firm, defending its decision. These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a long-term pattern where profit trumps principle, and Beijing's approval becomes the silent co-producer. China's booming film industry doesn't need Hollywood anymore. But while American studios chased Chinese favor, China built its own cinematic empire. See, here's one that I guess they built. Over the past 5 years, Chinese blockbusters like The Battle of Lake Changlin, Wolf Warrior 2, and Ni Za have dominated Chinese domestic box office charts. Backed by the state funding, nationalist themes, and media control, these films offer audiences stories that align with CCP messaging, and they're doing big numbers. In 2023, domestic Chinese films accounted for over 80% of the box office revenue in China. The demand for American content is fading, not just because of politics, but because China now supplies its own heroes. Captain America Must Die, a cultural flashpoint. Nothing illustrates the cultural pivot more than the bizarre but still telling slogan, Captain America 4 must die in China. When Marvel announced Captain America Brave New World will debut around the same time as the Chinese animated sequel, Ziza 2, national social media erupted. Supporters of Zaynab began calling for a boycott of American superhero, demanding it fail at Chinese box office. One viral comment summed it up. I don't care if Ziza can survive overseas, but Captain America 4 must die in China. This wasn't just an fan enthusiasm, it was cultural warfare, a demand that Western narratives bow before nationalist ones, that Chinese stories triumph over imported ideals. And for many in China, this wasn't political, it was personal. This move from China, if it actually happens, it is calculated shot across the bow, not just at Washington, but directly at Hollywood. It's a reminder that the Chinese Communist Party knows where the cultural pressure points are, and they're willing to squeeze. For decades, Hollywood bent over backwards to appeal to China, editing films, inserting Chinese actors or locations, and self censoring to avoid upsetting Beijing. And now the regime is dangling us as like a carrot, only to yank it away as a retaliatory club. Actor and wrestler John Cena offended Beijing when he referred to Taiwan as a country, and the CCP pulled Cena's upcoming film in response. Cena then issues a pathetic, groveling apology video to China, speaking in Mandarin, and even after the film didn't air. Yeah. Sheesh. From a purely strategic lens, it's a clever power play. Hollywood's been hurting, and China knows it. The box office is no longer the gold mine it used to be. Streaming to as a battlefield, and audiences, especially the U.S., are tuning out of the politicized or bloated temples. Pulling 500 plus million in box office revenue out of the mix is just enough to sting, especially for studios banking on global returns to justify the ballooning budgets. But let's not pretend this is just about tariffs. This is also a message. We own part of our culture now, and we can revoke that privilege anytime. The CCP has long seen cultural films as a battlefield. However, with all of its preachy globalists posturing and virtue signaling, may have thought it could use China without being used in return. But here's the rub: when you chase authoritarian dollars, you are risk being muzzled by authoritarian politics. So this will wake up Hollywood. Probably not. The system is too bloated and entrenched, but it should serve as a massive red flag that chasing global markets, especially ones like China, which are inherently unstable and politically manipulative, is a deal with the devil. In short, China weaponizing access to American entertainment is a flex, but it's also a mirror held up to a Hollywood that sold its soul a long time ago. The conclusion: a cultural Cold War. This isn't just about movie tickets, it's about narrative dominance. China no longer sees Hollywood as a partner, it sees it as a threat to control, a competitor in the arena of global storytelling. And with nationalist fervor rising and domestic studios booming, the Chinese government appears ready to cut the cord entirely. If the ban proceeds, it will be a monumental shift, one that forces American studios to recon with the uncomfortable truth. For all their compromises and concessions, they were never really in control. Hollywood may have thought it was exporting culture, but in reality, it was importing censorship. And now that censorship is no longer needs them, this is. I tell you this, man, it's a bad position for Hollywood right now. It is a very bad position for Hollywood, especially for Disney. Them bending the knee to all that nonsense, but hey, I guess it's necessary, bro. But hey, it's like I said, dude. I mean, we've been giving them what they want, all that nonsense, money, power, and everything. But China knows this, bro, that they don't need it no more. If this continues, what Trump's doing, China won't need. China will not. China will not be involved with it anymore. China won't have nothing to do with the United States anymore. So I mean, this will probably hurt in the long run, but it may be necessary. So you guys let me know in the comments. What do you guys think of this news? What do you guys think of this? You guys let me know in the comments below. So thank you all for watching this video, and thank you for being part of the channel. So please share this video, post a comment below, let me know your thoughts. And as always, thank you all so much thank you so much for watching this video, and I will be seeing you until next time. Bye for now.